Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new self-titled Factory Floor album. Factory Floor is a musical trio hailing from the UK. This is their second full-length album, depending on whether or not what they previously released actually qualifies as an album. Either way, I've really been looking forward to this album merely because I loved one of the singles that dropped previous to this thing. I love this band's sonic aesthetic. Essentially, Factory Floor makes old school dance music, really rigid, rudimentary electronic dance music with influences coming from old school house, some acid house too. And it's like they strip a lot of these sounds back to be as simple and as minimal as possible, reappropriating a lot of old school drum machine sounds and synth textures in the process. And undeniably, these guys pulled together some really hard-edged grooves. Do they have momentum down to a science on this LP and a lot of their other tracks too. These are beats that you just have to kind of move to. However, I would not say that Factory Floor's songs are all that melodic or traditionally structured like a song with a verse, chorus, so on and so forth. But what does that really matter? There are plenty of great dance songs that aren't. However, it's like Factory Floor really wants to bring this point home. Like, this is not poppy dance music. Don't you understand? We're trying to keep this thing as noisy and as weird as we possibly can. Almost to the point where it feels like there's a really strong industrial music vibe coming off of the music that Factory Floor makes, or a post-punk vibe. And neither are that surprising considering one of the members of this trio collaborated with two members of Throbbing Gristle last year on a strange little industrial music and noise album called Transverse. Got it right here. Check it out. It might lift your skirt. On this new LP, Factory Floor works to make these very accessible dance grooves weird by slathering them with very monotone, drab, moaning, deadpan vocals. Vocals that are so intentionally drab, they kind of kill the fun mood that the dance beats bring. This was a key feature of Factory Floor's last release as well. And doing this on their tracks can kind of be a little bit of a double-edged sword. There are moments where Factory Floor, with these very odd vocals and these hard-edged dance beats, come through with a piece of dance music that is authentically weird and kind of refreshing because of that weirdness. However, there are spots on this album as well where I'm not really sure what to do. Should I dance, or should I just stand here stone-faced and be kind of weirded out? As far as highlights off of this LP go, there is the song Fall Back, a track that I heard earlier this year that I mentioned in the beginning of this video that I absolutely love. I love the unpredictable synth notes on this thing, the really crispy drums, as well as the kind of pulsating bass line. And Nick Void's disconnected vocals feel oddly sexy. This song to me is just a weird combination of being entrancing and hypnotic, but also kind of wild and edgy, as well as emotionally numbing and off-putting. There are other songs on here too that I feel like hit that perfect balance. Tracks like How You Say, or Work Out, which is a track that is well deserving of its title and has this synth riff that really reminds me of early Daft Punk. Now, even though there are moments on this LP like How You Say where it feels like Nick Void is trying to be a little more lyrical with her vocals, it is the fact that she is always singing with the deadest of deadpans that kind of makes this album feel slightly one-dimensional. I guess the vocal style does make this album get a little old a little fast. I mean, yeah, it is kind of something that Factory Floor specializes in, and it's something that I could signify as being a Factory Floor thing. I would know a Factory Floor song if I heard it because of these vocals, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Nick Void's singing makes the songs enjoyable. Plus, on top of it, many of the tracks on this album are very similar in concept. And I guess you could say that a lot of the sounds that this album puts forward won't be too unfamiliar to you as well if you are into many a DFA Records release. So unfortunately, even though I really dug the song Fall Back and a few other songs on here, overall this album didn't end up feeling as refreshing to me or as radical to me as I had hoped. I feel like many of these tracks standing alone would work really well in a DJ set for a kind of off-kilter dance party. But as far as a listening experience to almost a full hour of music on this thing, while I liked many of the tracks on here, I did kind of feel like I was stuck in dance music limbo, like I was just in one place for way longer than I actually wanted to be. Overall, I gotta say I feel a decent 6 on this LP. Transition. But if you've given this Factory Floor album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Only the Strong Subscribe, All Mistakes Are Intentional, Factory Floor, Self-Titled, Forever.